of their reach or their might. They all fall down.
The British Empire's fleets were not enough. Persian civilization was not enough. Rome's riches were not enough. If every empire declines, is the American empire crumbling before our eyes?
We are well underway on the rise.
For the first time in U.S. history, a convicted felon will sit in the Oval Office.
How does an empire die? Tribes, armies, and organizations appear and devour the heritage of the former superpower, often from within.
What we not gonna do is stand around with ain't pull this bullshit that they trying to pull right now.
America is not the greatest country in the world anymore.
The House of Cards, known as the American Empire, is collapsing under the weight of its own contradictions, which can easily be seen by examining three key areas of previous empire.
When its people no longer believe in it, then does an empire begin to die.
Let's dive into the fall of Rome, the blueprint for greatness that America seems to be following, right down to its tragic unraveling.
Rome, at the height of its grandeur and its glory, a civilization so powerful it could never be conquered from without. Yet it found the seeds of its destruction within itself.
The Roman Empire was an unparalleled superpower of the ancient world. Its contributions, architecture, art, law, and philosophy are still seen, studied, and appreciated even today. Conquering vast territories and ruling over millions of people, it literally shaped the world in its image.
That is the Roman way.
Possibly the biggest and most epic contribution from Rome was its fall. But it didn't fall in a day. It fell slowly. It was death by 1,000 cuts.
Today, we'll compare Rome's deepest piercing wounds to America's
Internal decay.
The ruling class owned bountiful homes, hundreds of slaves, and hosted lavish banquets for one another, reclining on silken couches, eating roasted peacock and honey-soaked dormice. Contrast that with the squalor of overcrowded, overpriced tenements, where the poor battled against broken-down buildings.
They were also susceptible to being on fire, collapse, and aided in the spread of disease.
Look, the Romans built this stuff. It must have been good for them to live there. No, for most of the people, they had an oppressive government that was stealing lots of stuff.
The wealthy avoided taxes through bribery and influence, while the commoners, their tax burden was increased repeatedly. And if, for some reason, they could not pay, the very real possibility of slavery loomed over all of their heads. Justice was for sale in the final days of the empire, as bribery swayed decisions in every corner.
Things got worse for the individuals as their big, intrusive government was stepping on them more and more. So what you started seeing was people actually leaving the Roman Empire voluntarily to go among the barbarians because life would be better.
Deep resentment festered in the empire, erupting into protests, uprisings, and violent riots. Now what can this tell us about Rome's great-grandson, America?
The American dream.
The American dream.
American dream.
The American dream.
Owning a home.
Because in a well-built house with adequate leisure, they can live and work as better Americans.
The American dream once promised that hard work would lead to success and a comfortable life. Today, this ideal seems out of reach for many Americans.
Living in America is freaking ridiculous right now.
I can't afford any of these apartments.
$1,800 for a one-bedroom apartment.
$1,400 for 485 square feet.
Just live in my truck.
Today, financing the American dream in America is a far-fetched fantasy for most of America.
It's the new face of homelessness in America. Folks who are working full-time, but with nowhere to live.
I would have never imagined that we would be homeless. Never.
When you're that hungry to steal bread from the restaurants behind the stores, you're hungry.
The gap between the rich and the rest of us is getting bigger, as they have stagnated wages and their companies have exploded the cost of living.
Right now in the United States, we are facing a hunger crisis.
This had to be 1647. How are we supposed to feed our families like this, you guys? Like, what are y'all doing?
Compare the U.S. to almost any other advanced country, everything costs more. Buses cost more, trucks
phones cost more, devices cost more.
America is devolving into a country that is for the corporations and by the corporations.
It's like a big company, like a big corporation, America Incorporated.
Big pharma spreading addiction.
This event is going to teach you how you can get started investing in real estate deals that offer a 16 to 25% returns for as little as a few $100s using something called tax lien investing. Tax lien investing is
Every empire falls.
Big pharma spreading addiction. Con artist insurance companies. Corporate landlords price fixing entire cities. Even grocery stores are playing God, turning essentials into luxury items, naming the supply chain and watching their profits soar.
Meanwhile,
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostle, the great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching his word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayath and Dabadah, the elect house of David, that are scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. So what you're seeing here, this video is entitled How America is Reaping What It Sowed. And you know, just like Rome before it, as they explained in the video, you know, they all fall. They all have their time. You know, like it said in the video earlier, Rome was a power that couldn't be conquered except from within. You know, sowed the own seeds of its own destruction. Okay? We get the book of Galatians. It's going to be the book of Galatians. It's going to be chapter 6. Okay. Yes, Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. And it says, be not mocked. Galatians 6 and 7, it says, be not deceived. The Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. All right? For all the things that America has done, you know, it's finally all started to come around full circle, you know. What goes around comes around. You know, taking other people's resources, you know, indoctrinating them with your philosophy, starting wars, you know, never giving anything in return, you know, always doing these backhand deals with other countries and finding some way to screw them over. All right. This is why the majority of the world is against America right now, because America is just greedy. So I'm going to read that again, Galatians 6 and 7. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. And that's just not going into an individual. That's going to a whole nation. And what nation is about to reap what it sowed? Esau, Edom. And it says here, verse 8, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Okay? The carnal people of this world are sowing to the flesh, reaping that corruption. Okay? So I'm going to come back as judgment on them. And those that sow to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Okay? Doing what we're supposed to be doing. Studying, praying, fasting, you know, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our abilities, rehearsing the righteous acts. Okay? This is going to be the book of Psalms. Psalms chapter 49. Psalms 49 and 11, it says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling place to 12 generations. They call their lands after their own names. So yeah, that's the inward thought of the wicked here, you know, that that their enterprise, that their houses, their business, their empire shall continue forever. They're trying to do whatever they can to keep it, to solidify it. And their end game goal is the MOTB. But you know, Yahweh Shema Shah is gonna see to that this devil is gonna be taken out of power real soon. In fact, it's the book of Revelation. It's in chapter 18, starting at verse 1, and it says, And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. Verse 2, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And that's true, and we're seeing that before our eyes every day now. This place can't sustain itself for too much longer. And it's become the habitation of devils. Yeah, look at all these people. Look how the way they conduct themselves. They're only out for themselves. They only care about their own wants and needs. They disregard everyone and everything else. And all these unclean spirits and foul, hateful birds, man. It's everything in this place. This place is an abomination all across the board. The people here, their philosophies, their celebrations, everything. This place is a mess. Verse 2, and it says, verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, talking about these other nations. They've been in bed with America, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Yeah, because everybody over here, foreigners, they come, start a business, make that profit, and then they close shop and go back home and live like kings and queens. But people are starting to see that this place is not what is all cracked up to be, so people are just closing up shop and going home. And just staying home. Verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Okay, Lord willing, that we be of the elect, we're not partakers of her sins, and we receive none of her plagues, none of the judgments. Verse 5, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Verse 6, it says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled to her double. So everything that America has done to the world is going to get paid back double, as well as the nation of Esau, Edom. In verse 7 it says right here, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. And that's the pride of America. Okay? But look, Yahweh Shema Shai had laid a snare for thee, O Babylon. That pride of yours. And it says, verse 8, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire, for strong is the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai who judgeth her. Okay, so one day, death, mourning, famine, fire, it's going to be her judgment. It's all going to come hitting all at once. And let's see here. Let me grab it here. So I can get bear with me a minute. And let's see. I think that's in 15. Yeah, here we go. Okay, this is going to be the book of 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 21, and it says, Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. So, while things are looking good right now as far as prices on everything, you know, like I said, that stuff's becoming a luxury item now, daily necessities. It's just gonna get so expensive to the point where one paycheck from work is gonna cost one item. Crazy. All right, I'm gonna get this is gonna be the book of Nahum. Nahum chapter 3, verse 1, and it says, Woe to the bloody city! It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. And who's that bloody city? America. Full of lies, robberies, deceit. Okay, this city, America, was built. It has a very dark history. It was built upon the blood, sweat, and tears of Israelites. Verse 2, the noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels and of the prancing horses and the jumping chariots. The horsemen lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is no end of their corpses. They stumble upon their own corpses. Okay? That's talking about the people here, man. These people are gonna, there's gonna be a great slaughter. Okay? Civil unrest, people, doing what they gotta do to survive. It's gonna become the jungle out here. These people are gonna end up just destroying each other from within. Verse 4, because the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. So that's America, man. Sold everyone that great lie, that American dream, because you'd have to be asleep to believe it. Verse 5, and it says, Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdom thy shame. So Yahweh Shem Shai is using his prophets to expose this bitch for what it is. Okay, this place is not all that. It's not what you all thought it was. This place is nothing but a lie. It's a drink. It's poison. Well, let's continue here.
Foods, a major producer of chicken, beef, and hot dogs, increased its profits by 140% last quarter.
Elon Musk has been given access to the U.S. Treasury Department's vast payment system. The move essentially puts the government's multi-trillion-dollar checkbook in the hands of the world's richest man.
Blatant corruption, unchecked government, and unchecked corporations cause anger and frustration, which adds to the financial erosion of America.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Not only is the nation crumbling financially, but the social fabric is unraveling also.
Americans are so furious about healthcare that they are straight up murdering CEOs in broad daylight.
Government-backed white supremacy. Failure to protect the most vulnerable.
Atlanta, 2 students and 2 teachers were killed.
And reckless leadership driving the nation into chaos. All fuel an internal collapse of confidence and a complete breakdown of society.
It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
The American empire has thrived because of 2 complementary forces, hard power and soft power. You can think of soft power as feminine, the ability to attract and entice, and hard power as masculine, the ability to enforce. Both persuade subordinates to do what you want them to do. Which brings us to our second symptom of imperial downfall, the loss of soft power. understand soft power and its role in the downfall of empires, let's compare the USA to the very first superpower that ever existed, the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire was unique. It was established and governed primarily through soft power.
The first Persian Empire was founded by Cyrus the Great.
Cyrus created and maintained an empire thanks no doubt to his military savvy, but he was also a political genius. He was an excellent, benevolent manager of men. The Jews called him Mashiach, or Anointed One. His own people called him Father, and even the Ionian Greeks whom he conquered called him a just and worthy lawgiver and ruler.
Cyrus the Great, a visionary leader and a
But I need some more. Your antics make me bored, 'cause I just came around to say hello. I just came around to say hello. Say hello.
Every empire.
and ruler. Cyrus the Great, a visionary leader and a ruler who was called out by name by the prophet Isaiah 150 years before his birth. Cyrus conquered all that he saw, a realm so vast that it stretched from the sun-baked plains of Mesopotamia to the rugged mountains of Central Asia. He freed the Jewish people from Babylon and built the first stable, sprawling government.
The Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great soon became the world's first superpower.
It was soft power at its finest. He abolished slavery throughout his entire empire. He allowed conquered kings to stay in their position over their people, and he allowed people the freedom of religion with a highly effective decentralized system. For as long as the leadership was strong and just, all of the subjects worked harmoniously under one flag for the good of the empire. After the reign of Darius the Great, the government became a toxic environment.
Kings became greedy and began stealing from the supply of riches. The people below the upper class started organizing riots. The satraps also became more independent. They even waged war on each other.
When the people stopped believing in the empire's moral high ground, it lost the intangible glue that held its vast territories together. Once the sprawling empire lost its soft power, it lost all that it had. And just like Persia, America manipulated soft power to become the most powerful nation the world has ever seen.
This is the big picture.
Since the end of World War II,
now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
America didn't just win the war, it won the world after showing the world that it had the most destructive power known to man and the moxie to use it. The USA, the most charismatic and feared salesman the world had ever seen, sold the idea of a wholesome, democratic American dream. After creating international organizations to control the world's currency, the USA set off on a PR campaign to position itself as the architect of a new world order, where its power would be unrivaled. And it wasn't just economic power, it was soft power. Hollywood, pop culture, American capitalism, and the promise of a just democracy became America's calling card, even though America's credibility has been suspect since day one. To maintain the charade and influence the planet the way America wants to influence the planet,
led by our example as a shining city on a hill.
the world needs to believe in American moral authority and in the dream that it sells. The American product seems to have lost a lot of its appeal, and the mask has come off, both at home
Full pardon. He will be the first president to enter the White House as a convicted felon.
and abroad. America has toppled democracies, weaponized the dollar, sponsored ethnic cleansing, committed atrocious human rights violations.
We tortured some folks.
From the world's move toward de-dollarization to a fading.
This is Ezekiel 35:5. It's because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of the calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Verse 6, therefore as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, I will pursue thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate and cut it off and cut off from him that passeth out, and him that returneth. Okay? So, since, you know, Esau Edom likes war, because that's his moneymaker, he likes to, you know, shed blood, cause people pain, despair, torment. The same shall be brought upon him and his people. Alright, and like I said, this video is how America is reaping what it sowed. I just didn't want for this to be too long, just wanted to get the point. But yeah, so you can watch the rest of it on your own time, but Lord willing, was edifying unto the body and to the few sincere believers and listeners. And with closing, I'd like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostle of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching his word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayatha, the Wadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad. I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. See you in the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharallah, Wa Ababa Bal, Shalom, Barakatan.